Dear students of BA Part 1, at first a very warm morning to all of you. Dear students, through some comments and through some phone calls, I have been asked to discuss for you a stanza that is very suggestive, reflective, and very important for the purpose of explanation from the scholar Gypsy, and this is the stanza number 24. Dear students, you know this fact very well that the scholar Gypsy has been written by Matthew Arnold, who was a great literateur, a great poetic giant of the Victorian age. This poem has its source from Glanvill's Vanity of Dogmatizing. You know this very well. At the same time, as in my previous videos, I have discussed that this poem is an elegy because it discusses or it talks about the loss of a scholar. At the same time, it discusses the loss of the 17th century, which according to the poet was a very good one, was a very congenial one, was a very comfortable one, was a very satisfactory one. Now, the story runs like this, that there was a scholar, and that scholar was very brilliant. He was very intelligent. The poem talks of a scholar who is very brilliant, very intelligent, very practical, pragmatic. He is a man of letters. He is a very brilliant student, but he is poor, and it becomes impossible for him to carry on his studies. So it is because of his poverty that he has to bid adieu to his education. He leaves LEAVES. He leaves his Oxford University and joins the band of gypsies. He was very much attracted towards the gypsies. He must have, or he observes rather, the life of gypsies very closely and finds them always smiling. However, their life lacks comfort, lacks cozy items or coziness, but still they are seen living happily, living their lives smilingly. So the poet, that means the scholar, thinks that there must be something in their living style. उस स्कॉलर को लगता है कि इतने अभाव के बावजूद ये जो जिप्सीज हैं इतनी अच्छी जिंदगी कैसे जीते हैं, मतलब कैसे वो इतने मुस्कुराते हुए रहते हैं, कैसे वो स्माइलिंगली अपनी जिंदगी जी रहे हैं, कैसे वो लाफिंगली अपनी जिंदगी जीते हैं. तो he gets attracted, he joins that group or that band of gypsies with a single purpose, to know their intricate art of living. He has a very good mind to come back also, having the knowledge, having the art of their living, and to spread, he must have in his mind to spread that formula among the people, just to make their lives happy. But in the Scholar Gypsy, unlike Vanity of Dogmatizing, the scholar doesn't come back. Vanity of Dogmatizing में जो इसका स्कॉलर है वो लौट के आ जाता है, इसलिए therefore that Vanity of Dogmatizing is not an elegy, वो elegy नहीं है. लेकिन इसमें द स्कॉलर जिप्सी में, इन द पोएम that is the scholar gypsy, the scholar who joins the band of gypsies does not come back. The poet is informed. The poet Matthew Arnold is informed or comes to know that the scholar has been seen in the country area where mostly the shepherds live. जहां की ज्यादातर शेपर्ड रहते हैं, तो कुछ शेपर्ड, some shepherds are of this view that they have seen that type of man. In some cases the ladies says, in some cases the children playing in the fields, they report that such a type of person has been seen, but nobody is confident, no one is confirmed. But the poet wants to meet that particular person. The poet wants to see the scholar. The poet wants to have a talk with the scholar. So he searches for the scholar. But near about the mid of the poem, I think in a stanza number from stanza number 13 to 15, he tells that how can he be found. Much water has flown under the breeze. काफी समय बीत गया. He might have died as we people die. But in the stanza where he says that the scholar might have died, in the very next stanza, the poet takes a turn. The poet takes a U-turn, you can say. The poet takes a complete turn, telling that the scholar can't die. A scholar can't lose his youth. The scholar is not under the compass of time. Time has no hold. Time has no hold upon the scholar. The scholar can't die like the common man because he has not lived his life like the common people, like the common men. The poet believes that since the scholar has not lived his life like the common person, like the common people, like the common men, therefore he can't die like the common men. We people get exhausted. We people get exerted. We people lose our energy because our aims are divided. Our goals are divided. But this is not the case with the scholar because he has single aim, one goal, one desire. So he can't lose his elasticity, his elastic power. There is no fluctuation in his life. As there are fluctuations in our lives, we go on, we common people go on fluctuating. We go on running from the pillar to post. We are hopeless persons, lacking hope and faith. But this is not a condition with the scholar. He has full faith. He has got stuck with faith. He has got glued with faith, with hope. He thinks that he will get what he desires. He has sincerity, but this is not the case with we people. And we modern people suffer from very strange or deadly disease, pandemic you can say, like corona. Presently, this pandemic, corona, has devastated the whole world, you can say. It has made the whole world anarchic, you can say. It has created anarchy, and we are afraid to stand stand together, to sit together, to touch the things. We have enjoyed lockdown also, because this disease is contagious. This pandemic is contagious. So likewise, modern people are suffering from this contagious disease, that is hopelessness, that is faithlessness, that is hankering after power and wealth, that is hankering after money, hankering after wealth, hankering after comfort, hankering after coziness. We are always in a hurry. Every one of us is always in a hurry. So there is a hotspot situation. We are always in a hurry-burry situation. This is not the case with the scholar. He is living his life with peace, having hope in Almighty, having hope in himself. He thinks that he will get what he desires sooner or later, and he is waiting for that gracious moment very patiently. The poet thinks that if that person comes, if the scholar comes to our contact, naturally he will get that disease. So therefore the poet asks the scholar to keep himself quarantined, you can say. इसलिए पोएट उसको कहता है कि तुम अपने को क्वारंटाइन रखो. You keep yourself confined to forests or some lonely area. मत आओ, हमारे बीच मत आओ. The moment you see us, run away from us. हमारे पास आने की जरूरत नहीं है. There is no need, because if you come, not even our touch is contagious. हमारा टच ही contagious नहीं है. Our smile is also contagious. Our words are contagious. The very presence of ours is contagious. हमारा सब कुछ contagious है. अरे कोरोना तो कम से कम है कि छूने से होता है, मान लीजिए. किसी की मुस्कुराहट देखने से कोरोना नहीं होता है, किसी का चेहरा देखने से कोरोना नहीं होता है, मान लीजिए. तो यहाँ हम बच जाते हैं. लेकिन यहाँ क्या हो रहा है, ये जो हरीनेस है, जो फेथलेसनेस है, जो वो पोएट कहता है कि इवन हम जो विश करते हैं, हमारा विश मतलब वो जहर नहीं, WISH वाला विश, हमारे विश में भी विष है. कौन विष है? वेनम है, पॉइजन है. यानी आवर विश इज आल्सो पॉइजनस, all is also contagious. उसमें उसके संपर्क में भी आओगे तो ये धर लेगा, धरपकड़ करेगा, तुम्हारा धर लेगा तुमको. और जब तुमको धर लेगा, what will happen? Your जवानी will गिर धर के. You will lose your energy, you will lose your elasticity. Therefore here the poet suggests, see the lines, stanza number 24, then fly our greetings, GREETINGS. हमारे ग्रीटिंग्स से भी, हमारे नमस्कार से, हमारे प्रणाम से, हमारे गुड मॉर्निंग से, गुड इवनिंग से भागो. Run away from all these things. Then fly our greetings, fly our speech and smile. See the alliteration of S sound. Then fly our greetings, fly our speech and smiles. हमारी बोली से भी डरो, इससे भी भागो. अगर हम, क्योंकि हम जब बोलते हैं तो उन शब्दों के साथ भी वायरस निकल. Then fly our greetings, fly our speech and smiles. हमारी मुस्कुराहट से भी भागो। देखिए पोएट कैसे सजेस्ट कर रहा है कि हमारी मुस्कुराहट भी जो है ना वो भी डेडली है। इट इज ऑल्सो कंटेमिनेटेड, इट इज नॉट अ प्योर स्माइल। हमारी स्माइल भी प्योर नहीं है, मिलावटी है। हम हंसते भी हैं तो मिलावटी हंसी हंसते हैं भैया, संक्रामक हंस है, संक्रमण उसमें वायरस है। एंड यू विल गेट दैट डिजीज, द डिजीज विथ विच वी आर सफरिंग। यू विल ऑल्सो गो इम्पेशेंट एज वी आर इम्पेशेंट। जैसे हम लोग इम्पेशेंट हैं, वी लूज आवर पेशेंस so early, you can say. You will also lose your patience. As now the poet is trying to consolidate his saying, as some grave Tyrian trader from the sea. Now the simile is there, sea, descried at sunrise an emerging pro, lifting the cool-haired creepers stealthily, the fingers of a southward-facing bro, among the Asian isles, and saw the merry Grecian coaster come. Now here the poet gives the example of two people. One is Tyrian trader and the other is the Grecian coaster. Very beautiful simile. Here Tyrian trader stands for the scholar gypsy, and the Grecian coasters stand for common men, common people like we people, like us. Tyrian trader deals in imperishable items. जो टायरियन ट्रेडर्स हैं वो इम्पेरिसेबल आइटम, मतलब अच्छे आइटम, गुड थिंग्स बेचता है वो। बट द ग्रीसियन कोस्टर्स डील्स इन पेरिसेबल आइटम्स। जो जल्दी खराब होने वाली चीजें हैं उन आइटम्स को बेचता है। And he is very happy. Here see the poet uses merry Grecian coaster. So vice, V-I-C-E, dear students, dear friends, vice is always alluring. जो पाप होता है, जो wrong things होते हैं, they are always alluring. वो ज्यादा attractive लगता है, alluring लगता है, वो fascinating लगता है. It has more magnetic power than the good actions, good things, truth. सच्चाई की तरफ बढ़ने में उतना आकर्षण नहीं दिखता है। दिस इज द केस। तो और दे आर वेरी हैप्पी, काफी खुश हैं, और देयर पर्पस इज टू मेक द गुड पर्सन्स रॉन्ग वन। जो अच्छे लोग हैं, जो ट्रूथफुल हैं, उनको अनट्रूथफुल बनाना ही उनका मकसद है। ग्रीसियन कोस्टर का मान का ये ही थिंक्स दैट अदर्स शुड आल्सो बी लाइक हिम। तो आपने अपने घर में देखा होगा, टमाटर की टोकरी है आपके पास या आलू की टोकरी है, सपोज कीजिए, उसमें बहुत सारे आलू हैं वहां, उसमें एक सड़ता है, तो हम आप क्या करते हैं, उस सड़े हुए आलू को निकाल के बाहर फेंक देते हैं, थिंकिंग, ये सोचते हुए कि दिस रॉटन पोटैटो विल मेक या द अदर पोटैटोज रॉट आल्सो। ये जो सड़ा हुआ आलू है ये दूसरे आलू को भी खराब कर देगा, दूसरे टमाटर को भी खराब कर देगा, इसलिए इसको हटाओ। द पोएट टेल्स दैट when the Tyrian traders get a look of the Grecian coasters, they run away. They do not want to come into the contact of the Grecian coasters, knowing this fact very well, that if they come to the contact with the Grecian coasters, they will, it means Tyrian traders will also get that contagious disease. they will also get infected, and they will start behaving like the Grecian coasters. They will lose their purity. They will lose their youth. They will no longer be perennial. Their youth will not be perennial as it is at present. Therefore, the poet suggests the scholar not to come to our contact like the Tyrian traders who do not come to the who do not come to the contact with the Grecian coasters, thinking that these Grecian coasters will impure them, will infect them, will eat into their vitality, will make them mortal. Therefore, the poet suggests the scholar, then fly our greetings. हमारे greetings से भी भागो तुम. Fly our speech and smiles, because our speech, our smiles, everything of us, everything of ours is contagious, is wrong one, is deadly one, is fatal one. It will destroy you. It will destruct you. It will devastate you. You will lose everything. You will lose your youth, your eternity, your immortality, your permanence. Therefore, the poet suggests the scholar not to come to the contact with ours, with the modern people, with the people living in this world. There is greed, there is avarice, there is selfishness, there is a love for power, wealth, where there is hopelessness, where there is impatience. So the poet talks of two worlds. One, the world of the scholar. The other, the world of we people, where the common people live. And there is a great difference of earth and sky between these two worlds. Because in that world there is hope. In this world there is hopelessness. In that world there is faith. In this world there is faithlessness. In that world there is no avarice. There is love. There is happiness. There is mirth. There is joy. Here in this world there is avarice, jealousy, cruelty. There is mercy in that world. In the world of the scholar there is mercy. Here in this world there is might. Therefore, the poet suggests that there is difference between two living styles. The scholar is living different life, differently, in different way. We are living our lives in a different way. Our style is wrong one, his style is good one. If he comes to our contact, he will lose his goodness and he will be like us. So this is what the poet wants to tell in this stanza. I hope you might have understood what the poet wants to tell. Go again, read the stanza on your own. Try to listen to the video carefully, and I hope you will get it. And I will be waiting for some comments from you people, from your side. And if you have any problem in any book, anywhere, your calls, your comments are always welcome. Thank you. God bless you.